In my last life, my girlfriend put on a wedding dress and married her male best friend. When I found out, I crashed the ceremony and made a scene. Everyone there told me I was being selfish, that I shouldn't pick a fight with a dying man. You can have other weddings, they said, but he only has 3 months to live. They threw me out of the hotel. Later, I found out she and her best friend went on a honeymoon. Her social media was flooded with pictures of them beaming, inseparable. I became a laughingstock. Everyone looked at me like I was an idiot, the last one to know he was being cheated on. When they got back from their trip, the guy found me, a smug grin plastered on his face. It's amazing, he gloated. All I had to do was say the word, and I got to experience being a husband. Totally worth it. That's when he let it slip. He never had cancer. It was all a lie to fool a gullible idiot, and I had bought it, hook, line, and sinker. I snapped. I beat him to a bloody pulp right then and there. My girlfriend rushed over, but when she saw him on the ground, she screamed at me. You knew he was sick. How could you hit him like that? Watching her cradle him in her arms, her face etched with concern, something inside me died. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I could find, and ended both of them. Then I walked to the balcony and jumped. When I opened my eyes again, I'm back. It's the day of the wedding. This time, when I walk in and announce that we're through, she's the one who panics. Damon, what the hell is your problem? Stop making a scene. Julian only has 3 months left. What's the big deal if I help him experience a wedding before he dies? Bella Wilson's voice grated on my ears. I blinked, my vision slowly focusing. There she was, standing in front of me in a brilliant white wedding gown, her face a mask of indignation. And peeking out from behind her, a smirk playing on his lips, was the pretty boy with too much foundation on, Julian Carter. The self-righteous bitch Bella and her manipulative best friend Julian. I was back, reborn, and I'd landed on the exact day of their wedding. What a coincidence. No problem at all, I said with a smile. I'm just here to wish you two the best, and maybe grab a drink while I'm at it. Last time, I'd screamed and fought to get her back, only to be thrown out by her and her family. After that, the happy couple took off on a trip to Europe on my credit card, of course. A new life, a new rule, no more relationships. Being a player sounded so much better. Everyone knows the simp always gets screwed. My calm response caught Bella completely off guard. The other guests were just as astounded. They all knew I was her actual boyfriend. A jealous rage would have been the normal reaction, but this casual acceptance? Panic flickered in Bella's eyes, but she quickly covered it with a brittle anger. Damon, stop being so passive-aggressive. This is happening. Julian and I are getting married today. Why would I be upset? I couldn't be happier for you too, I said, raising a glass of champagne from a nearby table. Here's to a lifetime of happiness. May you two be locked together forever so you can't ruin anyone else's life. I drained the glass in one go, set it down with a soft click, turned, and walked out of the ballroom without looking back. Make some noise, the DJ's voice boomed through Club Onyx. Tonight's on Damon Vance. The crowd roared, a wave of sound that threatened to blow the roof off the building. 90% of the women in the place immediately locked their eyes on the prime VIP booth by the stage where I was sitting. In that moment, I was the king of the world. Hell yeah, I shouted over the beat. This is what living is all about. I grabbed a thick stack of hundreds from the table, stood up, and made it rain over the dance floor below. The energy in the room surged, reaching a fever pitch. Under the cover of the chaos, I slipped out the back. Leaning against my new Lamborghini, I took a deep breath of the cool night air. A moment later, I saw a woman in high heels stumbling out of the club, running toward me. If I remembered correctly, she was one of the promoters, a bottle girl. Damon, she said, her voice a little breathless. Yeah, I replied, a playful smirk on my face. I don't want to struggle anymore, she said, looking down at her feet, a blush creeping up her neck. Her name was Sarah. I tilted my head toward the passenger door. Get in. Okay, she answered without hesitation. In the passenger seat, Sarah's cheeks were flushed. She told me she was a student at the nearby music conservatory, working at the club to pay her tuition and help out her family. A good girl, trying to make ends meet. I nodded, feeling a strange sort of appreciation as I pulled away from the curb and headed for the nearest five-star hotel. The next morning, we were jolted awake by a ringing phone. Hello? Damon, why did you cancel my credit card? The moment I answered, Bella's furious voice drilled into my ear. If I remember the timeline correctly, this was when she and her dying best friend were getting ready for their little honeymoon to the Maldives. Julian, of course, had claimed all his money was tied up in medical treatments, so Bella had to foot the bill. I guess she found out her card was declined when she tried to buy the plane tickets. "I'm sorry, who is this?" I said, my voice dripping with mock surprise. "Why on earth would I be paying for your things?" "Damon," she shrieked. "You are such a petty, vindictive man. Don't think for a second this will make me forgive you." Before she could continue her tirade, Sarah stirred beside me. She rubbed her eyes and murmured in a sleepy voice loud enough for the phone to pick up. "Honey, who is that?" "It's so early." Dead silence on the other end. It was immediately followed by an even bigger explosion of rage. "Damon, who is with you?" "None of your damn business. Stop bothering me with that." I hung up, tossed the phone aside, and pulled Sarah back into my arms. I figured a college girl would know a thing or two, but last night her movements had been so hesitant, so shy, like a girl who'd never been with anyone before. "So did he agree to pay, Bella? I just want to capture every beautiful moment with you in the time I have left." On the other end of the line, Julian Carter was getting anxious. Bella, still fuming from the call, felt a fresh wave of irritation. But then she looked at Julian's pale, delicate face, and her heart softened. "Don't worry," she said, forcing a smile. "I'll make sure your wish comes true." Julian's expression immediately brightened. He wrapped his arms around hers and rested his head on her shoulder, looking up at her with complete dependence. Bella stroked his hair, a maternal glow in her eyes. "I'm not wrong," she told herself. "This is all Damon's fault. He's the one being petty. I'm just trying to grant a dying man's last wish. What's so wrong with that?" Life without Bella was incredible. It was like a weight I never knew I was carrying had been lifted. I spent my days with Sarah, traveling, relaxing, enjoying life. She was thoughtful, attentive, and eager to learn, nothing like Bella, who argued about every little thing. "Bro, did you know your ex took off on the Maldives with some other guy for a honeymoon?" I was relaxing with Sarah in a hot spring at a mountain resort when my younger brother Max called. "Yeah, I heard. What about it?" Honestly, I'd been surprised when I first found out. Bella spent money like water and had never saved a dime, always coming to me for everything. If she was still determined to take Julian on that trip, the only way she could have gotten the cash was through high-interest personal loans or maxing out a dozen other credit cards. "Dude, you're not even mad." Max's voice was filled with disbelief. "She's someone else's problem now, not mine." "Why would I be mad?" I said calmly. "No, I mean, holy shit, bro. My own brother. Are you for real this time?" Max was floored. As my only brother, he tried everything to get me to break up with the black hole of neediness that was Bella. He'd argued, pleaded, even tried to set me up with other people, but I'd been hopelessly devoted. He couldn't figure out what had finally made me wake up. I didn't explain. I couldn't very well tell him I'd already died once for that woman, could I? Way too embarrassing. "Max," his tone shifted to excitement. "Does this mean you're finally coming back to run the company? You know Mom and Dad left it for you and me. You know what? Something's come up. I gotta go." The second he mentioned work, I was looking for an out. I was finally enjoying myself. The last thing I wanted was to go back to babysitting a bunch of employees. What was wrong with eating, drinking, and collecting dividends? But he had reminded me of something. Over the years with Bella, I had spent a fortune on her. The condo, the car, the jewelry, the designer bags. Now that she was out of the country, it was the perfect time to clean house. I shot Max a text, "Send one of the corporate managers over. I need help liquidating some assets." It wasn't a life-changing amount of money, but there was no way in hell I was letting her keep any of it. A month flew by. I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Bella. "We need to talk." I ignored it. I was busy shopping with Sarah. She was an absolute gem. She never dragged me into designer boutiques, instead finding cute, affordable jewelry shops. For someone who had claimed she didn't want to struggle anymore, she'd spent less in a month than Bella would on a single handbag. Ping. A friend request from a new account popped up on my Instagram. Normally I'd ignore it, but not this one. I knew exactly who it was. This was Julian, ready for his victory lap. Sure enough, the second I accepted the request, my phone started buzzing relentlessly. A flood of photos filled my DMs. Julian and Bella on a beach, Julian and Bella clinking champagne glasses, Julian and Bella kissing with the sunset behind them. Sarah heard the buzzing and looked over, her expression curious but not intrusive. She had a perfect sense of boundaries. "Hey, come here. I want to show you something funny," I said, waving her over. She put down the necklace she was looking at and skipped over to me. "Who is this?" she asked, scrolling through the pictures with a frown. "Why are they sending you all these photos of people I don't know?" "Oh, the woman in the pictures is my ex-girlfriend," I said, pointing casually. "The other one is her side piece." Sarah's eyes widened, and a look of disgust crossed her face. "That's horrible. How could someone spend their boyfriend's money to go on a honeymoon with another man?" Her expression softened into one of sympathy. "Damon, I'm so sorry you went through that. That's not even the best part," I continued, leading her on. "You know who's sending me these pictures?" "Oh, wait a minute." Sarah wasn't stupid. A woman who could make a snap decision to leave the club scene for a better opportunity knew how to read a situation. She put it together instantly. "I get it. It's the guy from the photos. He's sending them to make you angry." She shook her head. "They're shameless." Hearing her figure it out so quickly made me cringe at my past self. I wanted to slap the old me for being such a monumental simp. From now on, no more attachments, no more love. My lack of a response must have frustrated Julian's pathetic need for validation. He couldn't wait any longer and sent a long block of text. "Wondering who this is? I'll tell you the truth. Julian never had cancer. He just wanted to see you suffer. He wanted to take everything you have." Pretty clever, using the third person. I didn't understand how someone with a scrap of intelligence could be so monumentally stupid as to gloat to the person they'd wronged. Did he get off on bullying nice guys? So I sent back a voice message, my tone laced with utter contempt. I could almost picture his face contorted with rage after hearing that one little word. And for my next trick, I immediately blocked and deleted him. No chance for an angry reply. No release for his frustration. After that was done, I wrapped an arm around Sarah. "Come on, forget this cheap stuff. I'm taking you to get something nice." "Really, Damon? You're the best," she squealed with delight. Across town, staring at the red error message on a screen, Julian Carter screamed, "Damon, you son of a bitch," and hurled the brand new iPhone 15 Bella had just bought him against the wall. Bella was starting to panic. She had a terrible feeling that this time Damon was truly done with her. He wasn't answering her calls. He blocked her on iMessage. When she went back to their condo, she found the locks changed and a new family living there. All of her belongings were piled in cardboard boxes by the curb like trash. She had no choice but to rent a cheap, grimy room in a motel. To make matters worse, Julian was being a total brat. The iPhone 15 she'd taken out a loan to buy for him, he'd smashed it in a fit of pique. She was about to lose her temper, but one look at his pale, weak face, and she forced the anger back down. "He's terminally ill," she reminded herself. "He's allowed to have a temper." "It's okay," she said, her voice strained. "We'll get you a new one." "Really, Bella? You're the best," Julian said, his mood instantly lifting. Seeing the adoration in his eyes gave her a small measure of comfort. She patted his head. "You must be hungry. Let me clean up and go out to eat, okay?" Julian cheered, rushing to the bathroom. He showered, put on a new designer outfit she'd bought him in the Maldives, and doused himself in cologne. "Bella, how about the Sovereign?" he suggested. "Sounds good," she nodded. "Damon, this place looks really expensive. Maybe we should go somewhere else. I know a great food truck park with amazing barbecue." Sarah was on cloud nine. Damon had spoiled her all day. They'd gone to an amusement park. He bought her the latest Louis Vuitton bag. She felt a little guilty and wanted to treat him to dinner, but as she stood outside the towering entrance of the Sovereign, she was terrified her card would be declined. What's the big deal? Come on. I had no idea what was going through her head. All I could think about was how many times I'd brought Bella here, and not once did she ever thank me. In fact, she'd always order extra to go, claiming she was still hungry. I knew with the clarity of a mirror that the food was for Julian. Hand in hand, Sarah and I walked into the Sovereign and settled in for a perfect dinner. Throughout the meal, she constantly put food on my plate, feeding me the first bite of every new dish that arrived. She was a master at making someone feel appreciated. When the check came, the total made her jaw drop. Even so, she insisted on paying. I saw the color drain from her face and knew she was just putting on a brave front. I gently took the bill from her hand. The amount was nothing to me. It had been a perfect day until I saw Bella walking toward our table. "Damon," she said, her voice sharp, Julian clinging to her arm. Who is this woman? What gives her the right to be with you? For the love of God, why couldn't I escape this woman? My good mood evaporated instantly. Bella noticed my scowl and immediately went on the offensive. What's with that look, Damon? Are you not happy to see me? Wow, you're perceptive. I shot back, my voice dripping with sarcasm. I was hoping I'd never have to see you again for the rest of my life. You're an eyesore. Damon. You. Bella sputtered, her face turning red with anger. Damon, come on. Julian chimed in with his smarmy, passive-aggressive tone. Look how upset you're making Bella. You know she's your real girlfriend. You just hired this girl to make her jealous, right? I saw Bella's expression soften at his words, her confidence returning. Damon, I told you I would marry you, she said, crossing her arms and looking down her nose at me. But if you think these little games are going to pressure me, you're wrong. It just makes you look pathetic. Got to my way. I snapped, done with the conversation. I pushed past her, caught off balance. Bella stumbled and hit the corner of a nearby table, crying out in pain and clutching her side. Julian saw his opening. A flicker of satisfaction crossed his face before he rushed forward to play the hero. Damon, don't you? He barely laid a hand on my shoulder before I spun around and kicked him square in the chest, sending him flying backward onto the floor. I was talking to her, not you, you little worm, I sneered, looking down at him. You look like you'd blow your load before you even got the wrapper off. By now, the manager was rushing over, drawn by the commotion. From now on, I said, my voice cold and clear, these two are banned. Them and any dogs they bring with them. Got it. Yes, boss. Absolutely. The manager stammered, wiping sweat from his brow. As I walked away with Sarah, I heard the manager barking at two security guards. Get them out of here and make sure they pay their bill first. Once we were outside the Sovereign, Sarah's face was flushed, her eyes shining with adoration. Wow, Damon, she breathed. That was so hot. Oh yeah? I can be even hotter. Want to see tonight? I teased with a wicked grin. Sarah's eyes went wide, and she immediately started waving her hands in protest. No, I can't, Damon. I'm exhausted. Find someone else to torture. I can introduce you to my roommate. She's really pretty. Nope, I only want you. We're going to the hotel now. I turned the wheel, pointing the car toward a destination. Just then, a FaceTime call from Max popped up on the screen. Holy crap, bro. I heard you beat up your ex at our restaurant. She's not my ex, don't call her that. I corrected him sharply. Sorry, bro, my bad. My mouth runs away with me, Max said, and on screen I saw him playfully tap his own cheek a couple of times. I wasn't really mad. Whatever. What's up? Is it for real this time? You're really done with that woman? He asked, needing to be sure. Yes, it's real. You asked me that last time. Next topic, I said, focusing on the road. Sarah held the phone for me. All right, fine. Good riddance. Okay, so about that thing you had me look into. I found it. There's definitely something up with that Julian guy. My parents had died when we were young, and as the older brother, I'd always had Max's respect. He knew I wasn't in the mood to rehash the drama with Bella, so he cut right to the chase. According to Max's research, back when I was missing after the accident that killed our parents, they had heard about a boy in an orphanage who looked a lot like me. They seriously considered adopting him, but ultimately decided against it. Eventually, through a massive effort, they found me, and later Max was born. That boy they almost adopted? It was Julian Carter. For years he had been plotting, trying to get close to me, even befriending Bella as part of his scheme. His goal was to steal back the life he felt I had stolen from him. Damon, that Julian guy is a psychopath. Sarah blurted out from the side, unable to contain herself. She'd gotten the gist of my history with Bella over the past month, but had always been smart enough not to interfere. This, however, was too much for her to stay quiet about. She just couldn't comprehend how someone could be so delusional. You think? Only a psycho could come up with a plan that childish. I scoffed. Then I spoke to Max through the phone. Do it. Fire every single one of Bella's relatives that she got jobs for at our companies. I want them all gone by morning. Not a single one left. You got it. Bro, consider it done, Max said with relish. I hung up. I knew a lot of people wouldn't be sleeping tonight, Bella included. I was going to make them all understand a simple truth. Their pathetic little schemes meant nothing in the face of real power. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, my phone rang. An unknown number. It had to be Bella. I motioned for Sarah to decline the call. They called back immediately. She declined it again. They called back again. Who else could be this persistent? I finally just turned my phone off. I turned to Sarah, putting on my most pitiful expression. Oh no, Sarah Bear, what are we gonna do? I'm so broke now. I can't even afford a hotel room. Sarah's face turned bright red. She looked down shyly and mumbled, It's okay. I'll pay, Damon. I have money. I never thought I'd be the target of an online mob, and the person who siphoned them on me was none other than that bitch Bella Wilson. Please, everyone help me. My boyfriend left me. He cheated on me with another woman, and while I was gone, he sold the home we shared. Now I'm homeless, living in a cheap motel. Damon, this woman is disgusting. Sarah fumed, watching a TikTok on my phone. She's the one who cheated, and now she has the nerve to play the victim. She wouldn't stand for anyone talking bad about me. The worst part was the video was trending. It was everywhere. The comments were a tidal wave of outrage directed at me. Apologize, this scumbag doesn't deserve to be happy. Someone call the cops on him. He illegally sold their shared assets. Let him rot in jail. I know him, his family owns the Sovereign. Everyone boycott his businesses. Run him into the ground. Reading the comments, even Sarah started to panic. These people are crazy. What if this actually hurts your family's company? Don't worry, I said with a confident smile. Watch me work. I pulled her close. Come on, babe, let's make a video. Sarah thought I was just trying to document our day and happily played along. After we shot a quick, glamorous clip of us laughing on a yacht, I posted it to my own account with a simple caption, unbothered. Sarah's jaw dropped. Damon, why'd you post that? I just grinned. What? Don't want to be my little movie star? She shook her head frantically. No, that's not it. But now everyone is going to attack you. I casually set my phone down. That's the whole point. It worked exactly as I planned. In less than half a day, my account gained over 1 million followers. The likes, comments, and shares were on par with a major influencer. I was infamous nationwide. Seizing the moment, I went live every day, all day. I didn't sell products. I didn't ask for gifts. My only content was flexing my relationship with Sarah. We broadcasted from wherever we were. Fancy restaurants, private jets, exclusive parties. The only time the stream stopped was when we were sleeping or in the bathroom. I became the sole target of everyone's hatred. The mob stopped trying to organize boycotts of the Sovereign. They were too busy flooding my live stream chat with insults. The few comments that mentioned the businesses, I had my moderators delete instantly. This went on for a solid week. The initial firestorm of rage slowly began to fizzle out. Even my most dedicated haters were running out of steam. They called me shameless, thick-skinned, a man who couldn't be insulted. Most importantly, because I wasn't trying to monetize my infamy, they had no leverage. I was just a rich guy living my life, and I was doing it all just to piss them off. They couldn't find a single weakness to exploit. On the 8th day, things finally shifted. Damon, we need to talk. Bella blinked first. She posted a public video, her tone much more subdued. I knew what she was thinking. Internet fame is fleeting. If she wanted to resolve this, the window was closing. Honestly, Bella could have easily pivoted and become an influencer, leveraging the drama to build a career. But I knew her better than that. She was used to a life of effortless luxury, a life I had provided. The grind of being a content creator was far too much work for her, and even if she did try, I had a dozen ways to make sure she'd fail spectacularly. She wasn't going to build a career off my back. After we'd broken up, the time was right. Okay. My one-word public response was like gasoline on a dying fire. The internet exploded again. Everyone was on the edge of their seats, waiting for the next chapter. I'm sure they were all expecting a dramatic confrontation where Bella would finally take down the villain. I wasn't worried. I had nothing to fear. We agreed to meet at a Starbucks in the city center. I had Sarah go inside ahead of time, phone ready. The moment I arrived, she was to start the live stream. When I walked in, Bella was already there, waiting. But the ever-present Julian was nowhere in sight. My guess? He realized she had no more value to exploit and had simply vanished. A shame. It was a problem a blind man could see, but Bella was completely oblivious. As I approached her table, she stood up, and then she dropped to her knees. Thud. Right there in the middle of Starbucks, in front of thousands of viewers on the live stream, she knelt before me. Damon, I was wrong, she sobbed, tears streaming down her face. Please forgive me." She reached out to grab my leg, but I sidestepped her easily. In that moment, Bella's life wasn't just bad, it was a nightmare. The motel room was filthy. The sheets were damp. She couldn't afford five-star meals anymore, surviving on cheap, greasy takeout. Debt collectors were calling her nonstop. Her family and friends were all pressuring her to make things right with me. And Julian? He was gone, not answering her calls or texts. She regretted everything, so she decided to apologize. She was convinced that if she just put on a good enough show, if she humbled herself enough, I would melt and take her back. "Whoa, hey, let's not do this," I said loudly, taking another step back. "There are cameras everywhere. Don't try to frame me for something." My reaction seemed to cut through her performance, and a chill went through her. Her kneeling also sent a shockwave through her online supporters. The goddess they had been defending was a desperate simp. "Damon, I'm on my knees apologizing to you. What more do you want?" she cried, the desperation in her voice real this time. "You say that like I'm some kind of villain, bullying a poor, helpless victim," I said with a dismissive shrug. The casual indifference in my tone seemed to break something in her. The performance was over. She slowly pushed herself up from the floor, her eyes filled with a cold fury. "Are you trying to drive me to my death?" I ignored her, instead catching the eye of a barista who was watching the drama unfold. "Can I get a black coffee, no ice?" I said, then walked over to an empty table and sat down. I don't know what signal she thought I was sending, but she followed me and sat down opposite me. Her tone shifted, becoming low and businesslike. "If you give all my relatives their jobs back, I can let this all go. We can get back together, get married, just like we planned. If you don't," she hissed, "I'll burn everything to the ground. You and me both." I took a slow sip of my coffee and spread my hands. "By all means, let the show begin." Bella stared at me, completely stunned. What? What did you say?" I finished my coffee and set the cup down with a definitive click. "Since you're not talking, allow me." I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, a speech I had prepared. I cleared my throat. "Ahem. For the 4 years we were together, I brought you breakfast every morning. I gave you a $10,000 allowance every month, on time, and a credit card with no limit. Every birthday, every holiday, you got designer bags and jewelry. Your relatives, every last one of them who needed a job, from the teenagers to the retirees, I put them on my company's payroll. Hell, even your family dog was getting a pet food stipend. You told me we were soulmates. You swore you would never marry anyone but me. But then you put on a wedding dress and married another man. Am I wrong?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. Bella was getting impatient. "I can't believe you kept a list. I was going to marry you eventually. Weren't you supposed to do all that for me?" "Supposed to?" I almost laughed. Instead, I slammed my hand on the table, the sound echoing through the quiet cafe. I stood up, pointing a finger at her. "What? You think you're lined with gold down there? I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on you, and you turn around and wear a wedding dress for someone else? Do you have any idea what a wedding dress is supposed to mean?" I roared, my voice rising. "I'm asking you, what does it stand for?" "It stands for purity and sanctity. It stands for love and loyalty. It stands for a new beginning, for hope, for grace and dignity. It is not a damn costume you get to wear to play charity worker, spending my money while you give your heart to someone else." My words hit her like a physical blow. She just stood there, stunned into silence, her face pale and her mouth hanging open. I didn't give her another glance. I called out to Sarah, who was still filming from across the room, and we walked out of the Starbucks together, leaving Bella standing alone in the ruins of her life. I knew that after today, there wouldn't be a corner of the internet left where she could hide.